Hi, this is going to be another pretty quick watch review. Today I'm looking at a watch that I'd been, hankering after for quite a while. I thought it had a unique design and couldn't find anything about them online, like as in there's not much info on them. And basically this is the Pirelli line of watches, and I think they're made by Philip Watch, I think, for Pirelli. So it's a fully made Swiss watch and a very unique design. It's listed as being titanium and steel. It is quite a heavy watch. This particular one is the diver version. It runs an ETA 2824-2 movement, which is a good movement. It's a 28,000 beat movement that you typically find in a mid-range Swiss watch. It's rated for 300 meters water resistance. It has anti-reflective coating on the glass. It's sapphire crystal, screw down case back. There's an internal rotating bezel, and there's two both crowns screw down. One crown is our typical crown for adjusting the date winding, and the upper crown is for rotating this bezel. So is it any good? These have a list price of $1,100, which is crazy because it's not an $1,100 watch by any means, but you typically see them very, very, very much discounted. So new, perhaps around $300, and used about maybe 160, 170, maybe 200 if it's in really good condition. This one I purchased used, and it was in very good nick. There was no real problems with it. The big problem with these watches, really, and you'll find that if you look at forums and people who have purchased the Pirelli line of watches with the rubber straps, is that on a lot of them they use a deployment style clasp, and that deployment style clasp means that you need to cut the actual rubber. So if you can imagine, you've cut these back and you have a deployment strap here, you have to make sure you cut it correctly, otherwise you've a problem. And purchasing a replacement rubber strap is nigh on impossible. Like, the list price I think is about $200. No one's going to pay that for a rubber strap. Now the diver one, what attracted me to this one was the fact that it actually does come with a more traditional style strap, that it's got, it's got a buckle, so it bypasses that problem. So if we start with the watch itself, it's about 39 millimeters excluding the crown. It wears a lot larger on the wrist, and one thing that you won't see written about these watches is essentially there is this curvature. And if you have a small wrist, let's say below about 7 inches, you're going to have a problem because this is going to move on your wrist, because this, anywhere between these two metal lugs, is pretty much immobile. So unless the contour of your wrist is close enough to it, you're going to run into trouble. So realistically, unless you're have about a 7.5 inch wrist, you're going to have a problem with this watch. Anyway, if we move on to the dial, like, one thing that's nice about, dive watches is these days people are looking, they're not diving that much with them. It's more of a case of the aesthetics and, is it worth a premium, and what else, what does it have above the standard line? And usually there's an increased price. So what are you getting? Well, firstly, you notice a very nice textured dial, which is this kind of wave pattern, which you can see there, which is quite nice. There's nice large enough sword hands. The second hand is a little bit small for my liking. The indices and markers are quite nice. This watch does not have a lot of lume. The anti-reflective coating is very nice, and there's a nice bluish kind of hue given off by the glass, which is a sign of good coating. It is very, very legible at every angle, which is a nice touch. It signifies there's nice glass in use there. If we start with the screw down crown, if we screw this guy out, kind of pops out, and then as you turn, you can feel an audible click on each turn. And that's nice. One click per set, like as in per index. And that's quite nice. It's unidirectional, which means it only turns one way. So if we go back to, let's say, the top, and we screw it down, and that's it. Same goes on the lower we twist it out, and then we can just pull and adjust our date time. I did find that you will find on these, I've handled 2 or 3 of these, that you do need to keep when winding, you need to keep the crown a little bit of outward pressure on it, because if you press in, it tends to just click over. So that's it. Doesn't feel great, but that's just the way it's made, I suppose. So that's pretty much it. It is quite heavy. I would reckon this weighs about 150, 160 grams. So it's not lightweight. When you see titanium, you always go, that's going to be light. This is not that light. It is nicely set up. Both the actual crowns are signed. On the case back, it is a screw down case back, and you can see P0 tempo there, and not a lot else, just mechanical automatic movements. We know it's an ETA. You can see Swiss made and water resistant 300 meters. On the strap we can see natural I don't know, caoutchouc or whatever. Anyway, it's the nice rubber. It's the good rubber, and that's fine. I do like the oversized buckle on a dive watch. That is a good touch. It has a flat on the buckle. The tang is flat. It's nice. I like it. It's suitable for this type of watch. As for, is it worth $1,000? No, it's not. But for the price, you know, I've seen a lot worse. I mean, there's people out there buying fossil manufactured Zodiac watches and paying, you know, a couple of $100 for them. This is a proper watch. Like, it is certainly not to everyone's tastes. So you have to make that choice. Comparably, like if you take, at the moment I'm just wearing a Grand Force Victorinox, which is a much lighter watch. This is a full titanium watch. It's a lot lighter than this one. But I have a big enough wrist, I don't know, maybe 7.5, 8 inches. And despite the fact that the Pirelli is rated at only a 39mm watch, it does wear bigger. And as you can see, it does fill out quite substantially on my wrist. So that's pretty much it. I have to say, I do like the Pirelli line of watches. I think the quartzes are probably a waste of time, and I wouldn't bother with them, with the exception of the Anna Digit. You do find that there is some exceptionally good deals on eBay for Valjoux 7750 based chronographs in this style, and they represent excellent value for money. There is one version which comes with the titanium bracelet, so you don't have the sizing issues that the rubber variant has. It also has a much more subdued black dial with some nice kind of red indices in that. They tend to run a little bit higher, but I would highly recommend them. These 300-meter watches are nice. They're a good size. They're a little bit more robust, a little bit thicker than the non-dive version automatics that Pirelli have brought out. These are not collector's watches, and you know, your mileage is going to vary on what you get out of them. But certainly, if you think about it, like boil down the actual components, we've got sapphire crystal, we have a 300-meter water resistance rating, we have a proper ETA 28-24 movement, double screw down crowns, fully Swiss made. Now, if you can buy one of these used on eBay for about $160 to $200, it represents really good value. You can buy if you can get a new one for between $250 and $300. You know, there's not much else out there. Like, imagine if it was a Tissot, you know, Seamaster, a Tissot Seastar, or you know, even the likes of a Dive Master 500 Victorinox. In mecha form, you're looking at probably between 350 and 500 used, and new about 550 or whatever. So, you know, they do represent exceptional value for money. I will say for a dive watch, it does have one or two little problems. It doesn't have the lume that I do like from a dive watch. It is a bit weak in that regard. Secondly, the face is a little bit small for the size of the watch. If you look at how much surface area you're looking at, let's say on the profile of the watch there, how much face you can see, and then compared to, let's say, just a more traditional kind of watch, you can see that, you know, I think really it's the internal bezel uses up a lot of the face, so the face is quite small. That said, would I recommend? Yeah, if you like the style, certainly. The build quality is there, and there's a lot worse things you can spend your money on, like a quartz watch or a modern Zodiac or made by Fossil or anything, you know. Anywho, that's kind of it. I hope you enjoyed it. It's kind of a spur of the moment video, so that's pretty much it. Take care. Bye now.